Hi everyone, I'm Lena Robinson and this is Lena Unedited. Before I do anything, I need to ask you one thing. If you can help me with my channel by liking and subscribing, and if you want to make any comments, and I'll do my best to come back to you. So the topic of Lena Unedited today is the topic of the power of community. Now, I was having a think about where that comes from for me and why it's so important, always has been. And I think partly it's because I come from New Zealand and I grew up in a tiny little country town, so rural setting. The community was vital. Everybody knew each other, everybody helped each other out. And that's part of it. I think it also comes from my parents as well. But why is that something that's important when it comes to running a business? Well, for a couple of reasons. Over the last couple of years, with the pandemic that's come in, I think we've all noted that the people that support us during the times that are tough are important. So that's part of why I think it. But when you're a business owner and an entrepreneur, particularly those that are solo entrepreneurs and doing it on their own, with a team maybe, but sort of responsibility stops with them, I think it can be a pretty lonely place sometimes. And I think the people you surround yourself with and the community that you have are really vital for your success, both emotionally and physically, mentally, all the things. But also it helps with so many other areas. So for example, I've had a long career in business development and sales and new business. And you think, well, what's that got to do with community? Well, you get a lot of people turn up to networking events and they just turn up with their business cards and they turn up just to sell at people. And that doesn't work. It's never worked. And I think for me, the better option is to go in with wanting to give people a helping hand and trying to be helpful and going in and trying to think, like, how can I serve other people and what can I do to support my community, as opposed to going in and selling at people. I think nobody likes to be sold at, and I think it's really important to build connections, build relationships, and just build up a community where you can offer help, you can offer support, and when you need it, you can ask for it back. So over the last few years, some of you might know I've had health issues and so forth, and my own community has been really amazing for me in that. And they weren't just people that I knew in my private life. A lot of those people were people I knew in business. So, for example, I had clients that came with me to some of my CT scans and MRIs. I had friends that were in the business and sort of worked alongside me, and they came with me as well. And there's been friends and colleagues, ex-colleagues, clients that touched base and would contact me on a regular basis and make sure that everything was okay. I have a network group called New Zealand Businesswomen's Network, who shout out to Claire Kavanagh, who had set up the Startup Club in April 2020, I think it was. And at that time, I wasn't allowed out like everybody else was because of my health issues. The doctors were saying that I needed to stay inside longer than everybody else. So that was a lifeline for me. It was a place that I could turn up every Friday, chat to people that had different opinions, thoughts, ideas, support. And I'm not sure how I would have got through the sort of basically extended 3 years, both from the illness and then into the pandemic time, that I had to stay inside. And I just want to say a massive shout out to those people that were there. And also my bubble people, Chris and Lisa, who are my best, loveliest, bestest, closest friends here in the UK. They're always there for me, and I am for them as well. And I think, when you look at how we get through life, standing on our own 2 feet is very fine, but being able to tap into community is also. So, for example, there's been moments when I've needed an office space and wasn't able to necessarily afford it. And when I started up my business, original business in 2014, which was Kiwi Girl at the time, I had the wonderful Chris Kemp, who owns Ingenuity, Chris, who gave me office space effectively for nearly 2 years for free. Because actually wanted to school what I was doing. Wow, it's getting really windy here today. I'm going to carry on to that one. You know, that's an epic thing. I've had other clients who have done contra deals with me that gave me office space and allowed me to do some work, paid work, and part of that was giving me a desk and some office space. And there's been times where I've had people like Chris Donnelly, who I didn't know in person, but knew on LinkedIn. But one day I put out a thing on a post on LinkedIn and said, I really need a space to do a workshop. And that was during a period where I think we were still semi in lockdown. So they'd locked down their offices. This is a person that didn't know me. Not only did he offer me a space for the day, the afternoon, but he came in all the way in from the countryside and opened up and stayed there for the whole day. And like, that's just an amazing thing for somebody to be able to do, that kind of pay it forward mentality. And, you know, I think of lots of other times where community has been helpful. If I look at Pipedrive, which is my CRM system, and I look at where all the sources of my businesses come over the last few years, 100% of it has come through either network, referrals, or doing things like this and leaning into my community. And LinkedIn is an amazing community for me. I've got nearly 4,500 of you. Hey, LinkedIn community, who I like to be there for and offer advice when I can, but also ask for help when I need these as well. You know, maybe it's an answer to a question that I've got or what have you. And I think that's really an amazing thing. I'm very protective of that community. So it's why when people approach me on LinkedIn and ask to be sort of a connection, I always ask them, so what can you give to my community? What are you offering? It's really interesting because that separates the wheat from the chaff. You know, those people that are just here to sell at me, they don't tend to answer back. But those that think, oh, this is really cool, there's a community to join and something that I can maybe contribute, when they come back with some thoughts on what they can contribute to the community, that's a really amazing thing for me to be able to go, like, yeah, well, welcome in. I'd love to welcome you in because that's, you know, you're coming wanting to give rather than to take. I think that's amazing. There's also examples out in the world that I've seen. So, for example, this weekend I went to something called Petersham Nurseries, and the story I saw, I think it was last year or the year before, they had some issues with council not giving them planning permission to allow them to continue to keep their restaurant open in the evenings. And when those problems happened, they turned to their online community, predominantly Instagram, I think, and asked that community to step forward and offer reasons as to why they thought the place should be kept open. And what's amazing is that it worked. I only, for the first time, actually physically went there this weekend past on behalf of the National Garden Scheme, which I've now joined as a volunteer helping with their London social media. Hey team, hey Sonia, hey Karen, hey Taylor. And when going there, it was like, this is really cool. The restaurant's open, and it's open because not only did the community come together, but I, as a person who really thought, oh, this is really sad that they're not able to do the thing that's really helpful. And I saw what everybody else was saying. I thought, do you know what, I'm going to say something as well that could be how powerful community is and why it's to have really lovely places open and giving opportunities for work and so forth. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is power of community, what you can do to help others. One of the big things that's driving me to do Lena Unedited is because I want to help people. Doesn't matter if it's people I know or people I don't know. I do think that my community goes beyond those that I physically met. I want to help people. I want to use the experience I've had in, I think it's 36 years in business now, to be able to help others, you know. So if you have anything that you need help with, let me know. Drop it into the comments. Have a think today about what can you do to contribute to your community. What can you do? It could be something small. It could be knocking on your neighbour's door to make sure they're okay, getting to know your neighbour. I don't think we're very good at that these days. We all tend to sort of stick at home or stay on our phones or our emails or what have you, social medias. Whereas actually, when you think about social media, it's who's in the front that's really important, which is social, and it's so vital to community. So I think I want to be here for you all. If there's anything that you ever need, let me know. I love connecting people up and helping them out from that perspective. Might be a bit of advice about running your business, or it could just be an ear to with somebody that's unjudgmental, but also has been through a lot. I've been through a lot of things in my life. And if there's anything that I can do to help, then let me know. But also have a think about what you can do. Is there somebody that you see maybe on social media that might need a bit of a hand on something, or somebody you can see that they're struggling with some stuff, which people are now starting to talk about online, which is pretty cool. Is there something you can offer in the way of a empathetic word or a bit of a helpful advice, or if they're needing something, can you help and step in? Anyway, that's me for today, talking about power of community, how important it is as a business owner, how important it is to pay it forward and to help others. So have a lovely day, have a lovely week, have a lovely Easter if you're about to watch this when I popped up today. And watch out, I'm getting blown away. So anyway, see you later everybody, and have a good one.